Hey everyone, welcome back to Breakup Cheater, the place where we dive deep into real stories of relationships, betrayal, and the lessons that come with them. Today's story is about a marriage tested by toxic influences and what happens when one partner decides enough is enough. If you've ever wondered how far someone can push you before you draw the line, this one's for you. Make sure to stick around, drop your thoughts in the comments, and hit that like button if you find this story powerful. Let's get into it. My name is Ryan. I was married to Claire for 6 years. For most of those years, things were okay. Not perfect, not some fairy tale, but stable enough. We weren't the type to shout across the house or pretend on social media that everything was perfect. Our life was simple. Get up, go to work, cook dinner, watch TV, repeat. Quiet. Routine. We met through a mutual friend from college. Claire was steady. Not the kind of woman craving attention from every person in the room. That calm balance worked for me. I'm not loud or flashy either. We clicked, dated for 2 years, then got married. We moved into a modest 3-bedroom house in a quiet neighborhood. I work in IT. Claire bounced through various admin jobs before landing one at a real estate company. That's when things began to shift. Didn't hit me all at once. Just little things at first. Claire started staying late more often, saying she was networking. Then I started hearing names. Mia and Jenna, her work friends. When I asked about her day, she'd bring them up. Mia's new haircut, Jenna's drama with a client. First, I didn't think much of it. Everyone needs friends at work, right? I was glad she had a social circle. But gradually, her attitude toward me changed. She became short-tempered over small things. The patience she used to have thinned out. Jokes that once made her laugh were now met with eye rolls or silence. One night while cooking dinner, I reached over to touch her waist like I always did. She pulled away sharply and said, "Can we not do that right now?" I didn't panic. I figured she was stressed. Maybe those friends were venting, and she was carrying that tension home. I gave her space and didn't press, but I started paying attention. What I noticed scared me. She wasn't the woman I married. She sounded different, distant, colder. It was like she was trying on a new version of herself. It started with phrases she'd never used before, like, "I need to start putting myself first," or, "Just because we're married doesn't mean I owe you explanations." These weren't fights. They slipped out randomly when I asked why she'd been late or ignored my texts. One night, I invited her to visit my sister over the weekend. She looked at me and said, "I don't want to spend my days off around people I barely like. That's not self-care." Claire had always gotten along with my family, so this stung. Suddenly, every plan felt like a burden to her. Talking to her became like walking on eggshells. Whenever we argued, her phone would light up immediately. Texts from Mia and Jenna. Like clockwork. Then came the turning point. One Thursday, I got home early and heard laughter from the living room. Claire was there with Mia and Jenna. I said hello, but they gave me cool nods. I went to the bedroom, but I overheard their conversation anyway. Mia was ranting. "Men only start acting right when they think they're about to lose you. I swear the best thing I did was leave my guy for a week. By day 3 he was begging." Jenna added, "Exactly. You ghost them and suddenly they're sending paragraphs about how they miss your energy. Let them sweat a little." There was silence, then Claire whispered, "I've been thinking about it." That's when I knew. This wasn't just stress or a rough patch. These women were feeding her toxic ideas disguised as empowerment, and she was swallowing them whole. That night I confronted her. "Is this the stuff you really believe?" She looked shocked. "You were eavesdropping." "I was home." "You were loud." Her jaw clenched. "I don't need you policing who I talk to." "I'm not policing. I'm telling you those friends are poisoning us." She walked out. That was the last real conversation we had for a while, but the damage was done. Then on a Sunday morning I woke up and found Claire already dressed. Jeans, hoodie, a duffel bag half packed on the floor. She was folding a charger into a side pocket when I asked, "Where are you going?" Without looking up she said, "I'm staying with Mia for a week." "A week?" I stared at her. "I need space." We had dinner plans that night. I cancelled, told my sister something came up. You told my sister something came up without telling me? She sighed. Ryan, I'm doing this for us. I almost laughed. Leaving our house without a word. Crashing at Mia's place. That's doing this for us? Claire looked me in the eye. Mia said sometimes you have to teach a man to appreciate what he has. A little distance never killed anyone. That was it. She didn't even try to pretend this was her own idea. You're taking advice from a woman who brags about ghosting her boyfriend and lives off Instagram quotes. Claire's face hardened. It's not about Mia. It's about me realizing I lost myself. No. What you need is someone telling you the truth. Mia doesn't want you to find yourself. She wants company in her mess. She rolled her eyes. You're just threatened by other women. No. I'm threatened by reckless advice you treat like gospel. Running away doesn't solve problems. Claire slung her bag over her shoulder. It's 1 week, Ryan. Just time. She walked out like she was running an errand. No hug, no goodbye. I stood there, door open, thinking about how someone could turn their marriage into a power play just because a friend said it worked. That's when it hit me. She wasn't teaching me a lesson. She was waiting to see if I'd break. The first 24 hours I barely moved. Just sat on the couch listening to the quiet. No footsteps, no slammed cabinets, no cold shoulder. I realized I wasn't sad. I was clear. Claire thought I'd crumble. Text her begging by day 2. Apologize for things I didn't do just to get her back. She miscalculated. By day 3, I made a phone call she never saw coming. I called a divorce lawyer. His name was Marcus Reyes. Calm voice, asked about property and finances. Marcus said we could start with separation papers and move forward depending on how she reacted. I told him to proceed. That evening, Claire texted for the first time since leaving. Hey, just checking in. You okay? You. Fine. Just thinking. No mention of missing me or concern. Just a temperature check like a CEO reviewing stock. I left it there. On day 4, Marcus emailed the draft paperwork. I reviewed and gave the green light to serve it the next day. No social media drama. No calls to family. Just action. Because no one tells you. When someone walks out expecting you to chase them, the best move isn't yelling. It's silence, then moving on. Claire came back on day 7. I had just arrived home, keys still in hand, when I saw her standing in the living room like nothing had changed. Her bag was on the floor. She smiled like a scene from a TV drama about reconciliation. Stepping closer, she said, I've been thinking, maybe we needed this reset. We both said things that got messy. I didn't respond. She glanced around, probably expecting to see me broken without her. Instead, she spotted the stack of papers on the kitchen counter, a sealed envelope on top with her name. She picked it up, skimmed the first page, and her face fell. These are... She trailed off. Divorce papers, I said calmly. She looked at me wide-eyed. You were trying to teach me a lesson. I'm just finishing the class. Claire blinked, stunned. Ryan, come on. You know I didn't mean it like that. I cut in, Mia said that. And Jenna, Claire muttered. I heard. What did you say, Claire? I just thought you'd realize what you had if I stepped away. That you'd miss me. I did. Missed us. But I don't miss being tested like I'm some dog learning tricks. She started pacing. We can undo this. It's only been a few days. Just a misstep. No, Claire, I said firmly. You made a choice. I'm making one too. Her eyes welled up, but I stayed steady. Not to hurt her, but because for the first time I wasn't reacting. I was choosing peace over drama, clarity over confusion. You walked out to see how far I'd bend. Now you know I don't. She sat on the edge of the couch for over an hour, staring at the floor like it held better answers. I didn't argue or comfort her. Eventually she left, taking the papers. 2 days later she called. I didn't answer. She texted, Can we please talk? I left it unread. Then came the longer messages. I made a mistake. I listened to the wrong people. That's when the cracks started showing. Not in me, but in her so-called support group. Mia and Jenna disappeared. She told me Mia ignored her voice note crying after the papers arrived. Jenna left her on read. The twist Claire didn't expect. The same women coaching her to walk away like a chess move vanished the moment the real game began. They liked the drama but not the cleanup. She tried calling, texting, even showing up at Jenna's apartment. No answer. With her safety net gone, Claire came back to me. Different. No makeup, no performance of independence. Standing in the doorway, she said, "I really messed this up." I didn't gloat or lash out. I just looked her in the eye and asked, "If they told you to do it again, would you?" She shook her head. I didn't believe her. Because the problem wasn't just them. It was that she let them steer the wheel while I sat in the passenger seat of my own marriage. I'd already been down that road once. I wasn't taking another ride. The paperwork went through faster than I expected. Claire tried to stall. "Maybe pause this? Counseling. It doesn't have to end like this." But it had ended. The moment she zipped up her bag and walked out like our marriage was a social experiment. It was over. The paperwork was just a formality. A week before court she came by again. No drama. No tears. Just quiet. She looked tired, staring out the window. "I was stupid," she said. Mia made it sound like this power move. Like if I pulled away, you'd become an emotional wreck begging me back. "You were wrong," I said. "And she was never your friend." "I see that now," she whispered. We sat in silence. Then she asked, "Is there really no chance?" I didn't answer right away. I let her sit with that weight, not to punish but because not every wound heals. Finally I said, "You left to test me. Passed. You failed." She nodded slowly. "Fair. But you're only here because they vanished. Not because you fought to fix anything. No ownership. Just running back when your backup plan ghosted you." She opened her mouth to argue, then closed it. "I never wanted this," she said. "Neither did I replied. "But wanting something means nothing if you gamble it just to prove a point." She left quietly a few minutes later. 3 weeks later, court finalized everything. Clean split done. I didn't celebrate. Didn't party or post some inspirational quote. I just went home, made dinner, sat on the same couch where it all unraveled and breathed. Quiet. Peaceful. No tension, no pretending. No wondering if a text from Mia would change the air. Just peace. People asked later if I'd take her back. "She's sorry." People change. But I didn't want apologies. I wanted someone who wouldn't weaponize absence. Who wouldn't treat marriage like a mood swing. Who didn't need a crisis to remember love. That wasn't Claire. Maybe that's the lesson. Sometimes the person you marry isn't the person who makes it to the end. Not because they're bad. Not because you're perfect. But because they hand the wheel to voices who never cared about your destination. She expected me to break. She got a boundary. You can't test loyalty by threatening to leave and expect open arms when you return. I hope she realized that. Thanks for watching today's story. If you've been through something similar or learned something from Ryan and Claire's experience, share your story or thoughts down below. Let's support each other. Remember, relationships take work, but they also need boundaries and respect. If you haven't already, subscribe so you don't miss future stories that hit close to home. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.